Welcome to MARKOUTONLINE, the next big thing in internet talk shows. Introducing our panel first, Tim Stone, Eric Hall, and Dave Chimmel.
Very nice.
Alright, let's go to the panel for discussion.
Alright, guys. Welcome to the inaugural episode of MARKOUTONLINE, the future of internet wrestling talk. My name is, as the wonderful announcer Drew said, is Tim Stone.
My name is Eric Hall. I am the pseudo-expert on the show, and we'll be offering our insight on state of affairs in the business today, things that may be happening in the wrestling arena, and that being the business in general, and doing some pretty cool interviews. We've got some pretty impressive guests on the possible list, and we're working on those every day. So we'll definitely have to keep you informed, and definitely keep checking back with us on that. And we'll go over to the golden boy here, Dave Chimmel.
I'd like to introduce myself, Mr. Dave Chimmel. I am a local historian as far as wrestling goes. Big fan, know a lot about it. I'm here to share my knowledge with you.
And now for our first topic of discussion, the latest team up of Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan. For more on the subject, let's go to Tim Stone.
Alright, well, I know very little about it. I don't know what you guys have heard, but from what I've read on the internet, Hulk Hogan and Bischoff signed with CMT. It's I think they're going to shoot in June or July, and it's a celebrity wrestling type show, kind of like all the reality shows out there today. They're going to actually have celebrities come in and get in the ring and try to train them to put on some type of match.
This should be interesting.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much the premise of it? Just
yeah, they're going to bring them in and teach them the wrestling. I think they're going to do a live show at the end where they might, I guess they're going to put on a match.
some type of card.
Yeah, with these celebrities. I don't know how many, but and they from what I know, they haven't named any names of the talent that's going to be on there. They've just put out the press release or what have you.
Sounds to me like it may turn into a debacle, but I guess anything's possible. You know, Bischoff's had a few hits with Billy Ray Cyrus's show, I guess, being somewhat big, but I guess that has a lot to do with his daughter.
Oh, and we should mention who also is producing that show is Jason from Wonder Years. The brother they were teaming up the old Bischoff, Jason Hervey.
I heard about that. Yeah, they're doing a lot of TV ventures now, which I guess is why Bischoff has separated himself from WWE. But with my experience and knowledge of the business, I don't see that type of reality show working. There's too many closely guarded secrets in the wrestling business, on top of the fact that anytime you're learning to wrestle, you usually get a lot of hazing and things like that celebrities aren't going to put up with. And on top of the fact that no matter how good of an athlete you are, even if these celebrities work out all the time, having wind in the ring is a completely different situation. I've seen people come into OVW who, you know, did 60, 70, 90 minutes of cardio a day before they showed up, who still couldn't make it in the wrestling ring. It's just a different type of situation. So I guess depending upon how the production is done, you know, if they try to do it as close to reality as possible, I don't see that making it too far.
Let me cut you off right there, Eric. Let me bring you to the fact about Hulk Hogan does bring in a number of ratings. He did have a hit show on VH1 with Hogan Knows Best. It did last several seasons, and I think whenever you have Hulk Hogan on TV, you do have ratings.
I can see that that's a valid point. You know, Uncle Creepy can bring in ratings from time to time, but as a mentor of mine said, garbage is also a household word, and it gets smelly when it gets old too. So.
Alright, now we're less than a month away from WrestleMania. Jeff Hardy's been suspended, could have some huge implications. For more on it, let's go to the golden boy, Dave Chimmel.
Well, with Jeff Hardy getting the biggest push of his career so far, this definitely has to come to a certain blow. He was in line for the Money in the Bank, and personally I thought he was the favorite to win the Money in the Bank and cash it in for a title shot. He lost the Intercontinental Championship also on Raw, so this definitely has to go a big blow to his ego.
Not only is it a blow to his ego, but it's a blow to his career. You know, he was the Intercontinental Champion. He has been having a pretty big main event push lately. You know, unfortunately, he has some demons in his life, that have heard him in the past, not only at TNA, but at WWE before, which is what sent him into TNA. You know, Jeff seems to be a great guy, but unfortunately, it looks like that possibly, I mean, we don't know obviously what exactly has happened, but you know, something's got the better of him, and that's bringing down his career. You know, I mean, you only get so many chances. This is strike 3 or 4 for him. So will he get another main event push after this? It's hard to say. My guess would be no. So.
And I think not only that, I mean, it's definitely a loss for Jeff Hardy, but this is a big loss for the fans. In my opinion, Jeff is probably the most over one, if not, you know, top 2 or 3 on the entire Raw roster. And when I think about WrestleMania, you think of those moments, you know, like when Benoit and Eddie took the belts. I think that, you know, seeing Jeff go over at WrestleMania with Money in the Bank and a possible taking that title would have been a moment that the fans would have talked about from years on out. I mean, he is huge. He is way over with the fans.
I can see that happening. I could definitely see, you know, from a wrestling fan's point of view, I can definitely see, you know, Hardy having that big moment at WrestleMania, holding the belt over his head, kind of like Ray had a few years ago, even though he's a smaller guy. But from a business standpoint of view, you know, I don't think that Vince could really put him in that spot now. You know, obviously he's out for this year, but you know, he's put all this money and all this time and all this effort behind pushing him, and now, you know, here he comes for the biggest stage of all, and he's basically took himself out of it. You know, after this big push and all this money that he's had spent on him. So.
And the recent bad publicity, drugs and steroids, if that is the case, we're not sure yet.
Right.
That definitely is a big blow to WWE as a company. They've gone through many changes of trying to bring that to the surface and letting people know that they're not tolerating that. And when you break the rules, you know, the people aren't sliding like they once were in the past.
You're right, and you know, you said to some extent that it's a blow, but you know, at the same time, you know, is it a blow or is it, you know, actually a boost for their testing system to show Congress or whomever, the media, you know, the liberal media, that hey, you know, we're willing to suspend someone for 60 days that we have been pushing in the main event, that had, you know, had a good chance to be, you know, a possible champion here coming up very soon, Intercontinental Champion, had the belt. You know, that it kind of legitimizes their whole testing process, because I know there has been some questioning about that lately by members of the media, members of Congress, and several other people as to, you know, how legitimate it was and what was exactly done with the results. So, you know, I think that could go either way.
And we'll have to see what that does to his push. I mean, we've seen a couple suspensions already since this new policy, and you know, Ken Kennedy, I would say that his push definitely has suffered because of that. But then you see Chavo Guerrero holding the ECW belt right now. So I mean, I think it could go either way, but it's definitely, I think, a major loss for the fans, especially with WrestleMania coming up.
Sure, absolutely.
We also get a chance to see a new star rise out of Jeff Hardy's fall. Could it be CM Punk, or could it be Shelton Benjamin, who's been in the company for quite some time?
And I tell you, from somebody who has a lot of experience working with Shelton and working at OVW, you know, Shelton is a phenomenal athlete inside the ring and outside the ring. Shelton's the kind of guy, you know, he doesn't even really go to the gym to work out. He does a little cardio a couple times a week, and that's it. You know, Shelton's just a naturally gifted athlete. You know, he's done some good things in WWE, and he's done some bad things in WWE as far as creative's concerned. You know, they've had some good stuff for him, they've had some bad stuff for him. So will this be his next shot to prove himself? We'll see. You know, will Punk continue to be kind of ostracized because of his size and his looks, kind of his style? You know, he's not a Chris Masters. You know, obviously he's not a clean cut, you know, jacked, typical wrestler. You know, is he going to continue to be held down because of that, or is he going to be able to show, you know, what kind of a good worker he really is? I guess that's the question that we'll see coming out of the Money in the Bank.